Hey, this is a video series called Yelling Casually instead of casual yelling. Get it? It is available on my Patreon. That's patreon.com/ I'm Matt Elfring. You can check out the full video there, even if you're not a subscriber, or you can free subscribe, or you can pay. Whatever. I care, but I don't care. So enjoy this. If you want to see the video, which is just me in my office and it's kind of boring, go to the Patreon. Anyways, enjoy me talking about layoffs. Oh, hi there. It's me, Ed Elfring. Uh, how are you? I'm doing great. It's coming on 1 year. It's been 1 year since I was laid off from my full time job, and since then, it's been a year of struggle, both with health issues and with finding a job. Full time jobs at this point are far and few between because journalism is just on fire. Games are just on fire. There are mass layoffs left and right. And I'm picking up contract job between contract job. There was one offer I've had in the past year for a full-time gig, but because of my health issues and the amount of travel that the job required, it simply wasn't something I could take on. And there's been a lot of frustration within trying to find gigs. I've had contract jobs and contract jobs and contract jobs throughout the past year in order to keep me afloat, but full-time work isn't something that's being offered, and more so than anything else, full-time remote isn't something being offered as much as it used to be. There's a return to office thing. And I hear a lot of people say the experiment with remote work is over, which is complete hogwash if you ask me. Uh, it is 2023. We should be able to work remotely. We don't need to be in an office. We have Zoom to connect us, we have Slack to connect us, all of that. Remote work should be something that we can do. But the issue is that a lot of people want us all back in the office. So, where do we go from here? Remote work isn't as prevalent as it was during the pandemic. Full-time jobs aren't as prevalent as they were a few years back. We're in a recession. And there's this whole thing with AI, which is the current tech bro hype. Just like how NFTs were the tech bro hype. And where are the NFTs at this point? Cryptocurrency was there, and cryptocurrency is still kind of part of the ether of how we spend money, but it's not as prevalent as tech bros said it was going to be. And we can keep going through technology after technology and find technologies that tech bros hyped and how it's going to change the world. And it didn't. A lot of these things are still relevant, but it didn't change the world. AI has been prevalent within our lives, our entire lives. Ever since the first video game, there's been AI, but it's not going to change the world like people say it is. However, companies, especially within writing, think that's the wave of the future, and it's not. I've edited AI pieces, and it is puke on paper is the best way to describe it. It sounds like it's written by someone whose English is a second language. It is very hard to edit. It makes up quotes. It's one piece that I had to edit made up a quote, and I was like, "Where is this source from?" And someone told me, well, Chat GPT wrote it. And I was like, that's kind of wrong. It takes more time to edit something than it does to write it yourself. And we're talking about editing within AI writing. So there's like a lot to dump on someone who's recently been laid off. There are, again, layoffs happening every single day, a lot within the game dev industry. I'm sorry that this is happening. It's happened to me as well. I'm back in a place where I'm freelancing from the place that laid me off because I love the website, I love the people that work there, and I love writing there. I tried to pivot over to communications and PR, and I had a couple gigs there. One worked, one didn't. And the one that worked, I thought I would have a future with, and I didn't. And it's a bummer, but I got a lot of experience out of it. I jumped between contract freelance writing jobs, and for the most part, I found out a lot of them didn't work for me because the amount of work to the amount of pay is a little ridiculous. And I understand that with this first video that I'm putting out, I am all over the place. This is much different than me writing about it, where I'm contained within a structure, within an outline that I've poised out. There is no outline for this. This is casual yelling, if anything. It is hard to find a job. We LinkedIn is this whole thing where everybody's like, "This is how you get a job." It's not. It really isn't. Networking is how you get jobs. Every single job I've had since being laid off, I've gotten through like networking, people reaching out to me, whether it be email, text, or on Twitter DMs before Twitter went on fire. That's what LinkedIn bugs me in so many different ways. I've been ghosted by recruiters numerous times, including recruiters I consider friends, which is kind of a bummer. I've had hour-long conversations with recruiters who told me landing you a job's going to be easy, and then they just never talk to you again. I've sent in probably 100 applications to jobs through LinkedIn, and the vast majority have never been looked at by a human because it tells you, has your application been looked at? No, it hasn't. I've changed my resume so many different times, and it doesn't help at all. I've had people promise me they'll help with my CVs, they'll help with my resume, but they're going to charge money. Uh, and it is a service, so I understand that. But many of us are in situations where you can't afford that. That's an extra expense that you've got to cut back on everything. My lifestyle completely changed after I lost my job, and that's fine. That's a fine thing. It's easy to do, and it's hard to do, and it's easy to do. But you look at the grand scheme of things, jobs aren't really coming back. We are in a recession. Every person that's laid off is having trouble finding jobs. And it's because there are thousands of us fighting for the same six jobs. And it's a bummer. I have nothing but, positive and good wishes and well wishes to the people that have found those jobs. But for the rest of us, it's a struggle and it sucks. And that's kind of where we're at now. What do we do in the future? Can you pivot to another industry? The answer is yes, like if you have it in you, but it's tough because, I was familiar for more than a decade with writing entertainment journalism, and I decided to pivot into PR communications. It didn't work. I decided to pivot into Substack and running podcasts. I'm sorry, I keep pushing my glasses up. They keep falling. And after I made a following on Substack and made a following with the podcast there, you learn that Substack backs white nationalists. And I had to move from Substack over to Patreon. And then I learned that I have to start over again. And that's tough too, because as a writer, as someone that does audio, as someone that does video, you have to pivot. And then sometimes you have to try to make it on your own. And it might not always work. It might fail and it sucks. It sucks knowing you have to start over from scratch. I'm not connected to GameSpot anymore, so I don't have an immediate following, which is fine. You get to build something on your own. Again, sometimes it fails, sometimes it succeeds. And I want everybody to succeed that's been like by laid off with these corporations, but it is a struggle out there. And like you have to keep your head up. You have to tell yourself that like in the end it's gonna be okay. Even if it's delusion. I've been delusional, like I'm gonna be fine. I'll land a full-time job immediately and didn't. And it's hard to swallow. So I guess to everybody out there who's been involved in these layoffs, like, I'm sorry. I'm in the same position still 1 year later of trying to find a full-time job so I can get health insurance, so I can have a place I know is going to be where I'm at for a while, and just full-time work so I'm not bored. There's no right answer to this, and that's the hardest thing to really understand is that we don't know where we're gonna be in a year. We don't know where we're gonna be in a few years. Job security isn't a thing. Loyalty that you've shown to those companies you work for isn't as appreciated as much as it used to been. You're not gonna get that gold watch after 20 years of working somewhere, even though that's what we were told growing up. You're not gonna get that watch after you show so much loyalty to another company. Times have changed, culture has changed, how we work has changed. So what do we do next? I don't have an answer. I don't know what to do. Start your own thing. Find something that makes you happy. Try a new hobby while you look for work. Just find little things that make you happy. That's the only thing you can do at this point. And this is where I plug my Patreon like a total schmo. Look at that right down there. I'm Ed Elfring. I do podcasts. I do fun writing. Uh, you can read my writing at GameSpot as well. I also produce a podcast called Gifted Kid Messy Adult. I hope you find the things that you're looking for that are fun, that make you happy. Even if you have to start over and try to find something new, a new audience. Because if we can't make it through companies and being laid off like this, it's just time to start our own thing. That's the only advice I have. Pick up contract work, pick up freelancing work, start your own thing. Still look for a full-time job. It's just, I wish well for you. I wish well for me. This sucks. That's it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.